All right, we are recording. Hi, everybody. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties. Again, everybody knows the Zoom cue. So we're here with our amazing new partner, United Through Reading. And I'm going to let her introduce herself and kind of explain the program, their amazing resources, and what they can provide for our new military families.
Good morning, everyone. So my name is Mary Lena Kikta. I am a program manager with United Through Reading. Little about myself, I am an Air Force veteran and I'm an active duty Marine Corps spouse. So this program is near and dear to my heart, as all family resource programs are for the military. So thank you for having me today. If you're unfamiliar with United Through Reading, we are a 30-year-old nonprofit, and we were founded by a Navy spouse who had a young daughter and a deploying husband. And she was also an educator focusing on literacy. And she was aware of the fact that early literacy is a precursor, of course, to academic success later on in life. She was also very aware of the hardships that military children undergo in a lot of regards, both educationally and at home, their home life. So thus United Through Reading was born, because she thought there's got to be a better way for reintegration and to keep literacy focused along the way. So the program began with those big VHS cameras. She would take them down to the docks and record sailors coming on and off of boats in the San Diego area. So, and here we are 30 years later, still kicking. So basically our mission is to unite service members and their families utilizing the read aloud experience. And so what that means is we give service members the opportunity to read children's books on video for the loved children in their lives for when they're separated due to military service or really any reason. Our program is open to all of the statuses. So active, Guard, Reserve, veterans, all of the branches, all of the ranks. The program is always free. And basically, service members can just record themselves reading a book to a loved child, and then they're provided the book and the recording for free. And then when they can't be together, they have a way of staying connected. The program is open to really anybody. Certainly parents are a big user of our program, but we also want to let people know that, you know, grandparents, aunts and uncles, some of the younger troops have younger siblings still at home. Family, friends, godchildren. If they're important to you, they're important to us, and we want you to read them a story and stay connected. There are many reasons why you might use the program. Again, deployment pops up as the first one. That's usually one of the most significant separations in a military family's life. So of course we want you to use it for that, but we also want you to use it if you are going TDY or TAD, if you are training, if you're going to be in the field, if you are on duty, if you have an alternate shift schedule, and that could be, if you are Guard and Reserve, that could even be your civilian job. You know, you have a different shift schedule or you work long hours. For the Guard and Reserve, they have drill weekends and annual tour. There's definitely geographical separations that happen with individuals who are going to a school, or they are doing a short tour overseas where they are just not able to bring their family. So they're doing the geo-bachelor, geo-bachelorette type of lifestyle. This is a great way to stay connected. Certainly, individuals may just not live near their family. You know, military families move all over the place. And of course, depending on where you are, you may or may not have family or friends nearby. And so this is a wonderful way to stay connected to those family members and loved friends that you just don't live near anymore now that you've moved to a different location. And what's important about our program, you know, I know your organization deals with mostly younger spouses, which is amazing. And number one, like I said, you can use our program even if you're not a parent. You know, we want those younger spouses, we want them to stay connected to their younger siblings and their nieces and their nephews and their loved friends. Even if they're not parenting, they still have loved children in their lives. We want them to stay connected. The next thing is, you know, we're another tool in your toolkit. We can be a resource for, you know, even if it doesn't apply to you, it could apply to a friend of yours, or it could apply to a situation that, you know, you learn about through your spouse's unit. You know, you can always be an advocate, you can always be a resource for others. And so, you know, learning about programs like this, gives you the knowledge for later on in life. And then of course, you know, when you might need to use it, and then in the immediate, it gives you the opportunity to, you know, suggest the program to others who might need to use the resource. And then finally, it's, you know, it's a wonderful way to, goodness, sorry, my brain is wandering. It's a wonderful way to do things like get volunteer hours. We always love volunteers. So perhaps, you know, again, the program doesn't apply to you specifically now, but you could volunteer to run a recording site. You could volunteer at an event. You could just volunteer to speak out about the program. So those are all options about why our program might apply to you, even if you're not a parent yourself at this point. So.
Okay, that sounds really exciting, and I'm super excited about this one. And I kind of want to ask a few questions. Some basic ones I think some of our new military spouses might have is, you know, how does United Through Reading benefit over things like, say, FaceTime or Skype or video chatting?
It's a really great question, because in this day and age, we have amazing technology that allows us to connect in so many ways that didn't used to be there. The benefit of United Through Reading, though, is we're an on-demand type of organization. FaceTime and phone calls and Skype are amazing when you're in the same time zone and when you have connectivity and when that service member is available. But if they're not, then United Through Reading lets them still be part of the everyday routine and lets them still be part of that loved child's life on demand. So if they want to see their parent or their grandparent or their sibling when, you know, they're on the other side of the world and maybe they're sleeping, this is a way to stay connected and still get to see their loved one's face. So.
Okay, I like that. I like, because then you can play back a video for kids over and over again.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's, the great thing about it is that we came out with an app last year. So it's another really great way to, I'm sure you're probably going to get to the ways to participate question, but you know, either an app or SD card or DVD or whatever it is that you've given, yes, it's on demand all of the time. So they don't have to worry about being able to physically connect with that service member if they can't be there.
Okay, and that does actually lead me into that question of ways to connect.
Ways to connect,
You read my mind.
So
Go ahead. I'll let you go. You're good. Go.
No, I was, we have a few different, what we call story station options. Our original, what we love when service members do is start their own United Through Reading site. And we call that embedded story station. And basically they would volunteer to run a site and we would provide them with all the resources that they would need to do so. Again, the program is free and we would train them up, and then they would offer recording sessions to members of that unit whenever is possible for their mission schedule. So it's wonderful if they have alternate schedules. It's wonderful if they're going to be going somewhere, because they can really run that program however works best with the mission. If they go overseas, we will stock them wherever they are in the world. If they have a mailing address, we will get them things. So it's a really great option. Service members who volunteer also can have their hours certified for the volunteer service medal. So that's a really nice little bonus that, you know, it's always, when it comes to, you know, fit rep season or whatnot, or, you know, you can include that. So we also have location story stations, and those are basically story stations that are embedded with like a home station type of entity. So ASYMCA or Red Cross or schools or libraries, the chaplain corps is very involved. And these are all home station types of things where usually anyone from the base population can use it. And again, because there are so many reasons why you might want to record and not just deployments, it's nice for the home station service members to be able to go and make their recording as well. And the nice things about those two is that they're very consistent because they're always there. We also have our demand story stations. And basically that is a pop-up type of thing. So we are very mobile. We can take our program pretty much anywhere. All we need is a private, semi-quiet area to make recordings. And so if we have a staff member or volunteer in your area, you can request us come and set up a recording site for the day. So it's wonderful twofold. Number one, if you're in a situation where you can't necessarily start your own site, or if you're kind of curious, like, I think I want to do this, but I want to see what it's all about. If we have someone available, we can come and help you facilitate that. Even if you are running your own site, we can always come and assist with things and, help you along so that you feel like you know the program really well. Again, should you have a staff member or volunteer in your area, UTR is a virtual organization, like so many of these are. So we have staff members sort of spread out amongst the United States. So kind of depends, but if you're in the DC area, it's me. And then we have our app that launched last year, which is really a self-service version of our program, which is amazing. So the closest story station is in your pocket. And basically service members can download it and they log in utilizing Troop ID credentials. And if you're not familiar with Troop ID, it's a subset of ID.me, and it's basically a verification organization to make sure that individuals using the service are qualified to use it. So, and one great thing about ID.me is that you can also, it works sort of like GovX, where you can, go in and look for discounts on things. But it verifies your service. One really great thing about our app as well is that in doing this, we were able to open it up to our veteran population because they qualify for ID.me accounts as well. And basically service members can record anything they like in the app, which is wonderful if you have family favorites. It's a great time to do that, or you have a kiddo who's very into something specific, you can buy something that's just for them. It's awesome for chapter books because it's so easy to make recording after recording and just do it like one chapter at a time and to be able to send those along. If you are in a situation where you don't have a book, you can also go to our website and request us send you one, and we'll send you one for free. And then you can record that book, and then you can either drop it in the mail or hand it to that loved child, or you have the option of requesting another copy be sent to that child so that they are still able to follow along at home. So that's another really wonderful option for service members to use. If you're in the San Diego area, we have this really cool thing called a mobile story station. And it's basically a van that's outfitted like a little tiny living room. And we can take it to events, which is really great. Both it's fun when people say, oh, I saw the story station drive by, and it's great to be able to bring it to situations where service members can't necessarily get away to connect with us. So we'll take it to the docks, or we'll take it to big family events or that type of thing. And yeah, it's a mobile recording site where they can go. We've got the same library as any other recording site, and they have a comfy chair, and they can settle in and they can record their story with the van, and they don't have to worry about going to find a story station anywhere. So those are the major ways to participate.
Okay. I really like the idea of the story van. That is really neat.
We've been pushing to get one from the East Coast. Unfortunately, it's attached to San Diego right now, but one day, maybe. Fingers crossed if we're listening, UTR.
All right, so for our new military spouses who come in with children, how are they able to utilize United Through Reading if they haven't made it to their first duty station yet?
The great thing about it is, first of all, the app certainly is, they can go in and get verified, so they can always use the app in that regard. Another great way is just reach out to our organization, and we, depending on where you are, we can certainly work with you to find out what the best option would be, whether it's directing you to the app or whether it's, okay, you haven't made it to your first duty station, but you're sort of close to this area and they do have a site, so we can set you up that way. So really, we just try and work with those individuals to make sure that we can get the program to them.
Okay. All right, that's exciting. We know they can still utilize it.
Yeah.
So another question is, how does United Through Reading encourage literacy and language skills for children?
Great question. So as I said before, it's been, we've had numerous studies saying that early literacy is a precursor to academic success later on in life. They even came out with a study not too long ago, which is very exciting, that even listening to being read to is more beneficial than not at all. Because certainly, we get some who say, oh, my child won't sit still for something like that, but they could just listen. And there's, the biggest thing is that it encourages that child to sit down and look at a book and read and have that special time. So many children are encouraged in early literacy by having a loved adult sit down with them and do it. And this program allows them to still have that benefit, even if that loved adult can't be there. For some, we've even had beneficiaries say, oh, you know what, this is how I got my kiddo interested in reading, was, they weren't really into it, but then I read to them through this video and they thought it was so cool. So they actually sat down and looked at the book. Or, I was able to find something specific that they were into. We've had people actually teach their kiddo early literacy, or their grandkids or their nieces and nephews early literacy skills. The wonderful thing is the child gets the book, so they get to follow along and practice those literacy skills. So no matter what level they are, even whether it just be that recognizing that there's words and letters on a page, or recognizing that they, the words and letters turn into sentences, or, reading comprehension beyond that, our program encourages all of those stages and facets.
Okay, and then how does it help with the service member and the spouses?
Could you repeat that? I'm sorry, it cut out a little.
And so how does it help benefit the service members and the spouses?
Great question also. For the service members, it makes them feel as though they're supporting the routine at home, wherever that may be, the caregiver of that loved child. We all know, being part of service families, that sometimes you are left with small people, and again, that could be, your own children, but maybe you're a caregiver to grandchildren or nieces and nephews or any of those. And this really allows the service member to participate in the family routine. It really allows them to support that spouse from afar, or that adult caregiver, so that even though they can't be there, they know they're being thought of. And conversely, I feel like for the caregiver at home, they appreciate being supported, because sometimes it's just the little things. I mean, having been in this position multiple times myself, sometimes it's just the little things that really change your day around or help with something. And it is sometimes just being able to pop in the last time we did it was mini DVDs. So, pop in the mini DVD, or at this point, the SD card, or wonderfully with the app, they can play it on their tablet, right? So it's being able to have, that child take a few minutes to spend with that service member who can't be there, and then giving you a few minutes to yourself. Whether it be, you hopped in the shower real quick, or that's when you made dinner. Or for me, like, I would stare at the wall and drink coffee quietly. So, so it really is about them feeling supported at home, because even though that service member can't be there, they're still trying to make the home life easier for them.
And unlike with FaceTime, you can have children that are cranky and sleepy, and service members, 9-10 hours ahead, and just doesn't work. And either kids are at school or they're eating, and their focus is not on that video. So having that recording is really, really nice, because then you can sit down at a certain time, kids are calm, and they're able to watch it. Mm-hmm. And so the service member doesn't feel like, hey, well, I guess they don't want to talk to me. It's pandemonium.
Yeah. Absolutely. Which is, and you bring up a really good point, that, there are pressures that come with things like FaceTime and phone calls, because, they're on the phone right then, they're on FaceTime right then. And if the child doesn't want to talk, the service member understands, but they're also like, oh, they didn't want to talk to me. Or perhaps the child is feeling kind of shy because, oh, I haven't seen them in a while, and now they're talking to me live, and what do I say? And so the wonderful thing about the recording is it allows them to keep seeing that service member. So hopefully when they do have live conversations, or when they are coming home, that reintegration process is easier. They recognize them. It's, they're that loved person that's been reading them a book this whole time. So there's less of a disconnect. And then, yeah, it takes the pressure off the conversations. I think it's wonderful for older kids as well. The vast majority of service members have smaller kids just because that's the age frame, but certainly quite a few have older kids, especially in the Garden Reserve side. And our program is still for them, for their older kids. And for some, it's a really great way to encourage them to keep reading, because as older kids get more robust lives, perhaps they're not focusing on reading a book. You know, maybe they're focused on school and sports and activities, and this is a great way to get them to slow down and keep those skills up. It's a great conversation starter. I think a lot of people assume that as the kids get older and they're able to actually have a real conversation rather than just, you know, wave, "Hi, Grandma," at the camera, that it's easier. But, you know, the reality of older kids is that they have very involved lives compared to the younger kids whose lives are mostly the household. And while in theory, you would think that would give them a lot to talk about, when they're faced with someone who isn't part of those day-to-day intricacies, I think, again, it creates a disconnect. And so hopefully what our program does is bridges that gap and gives them something to talk about, where they can say, "Hey, what did you think about chapter 2? You know, I read it and I really thought this," and maybe it'll draw them out a little and lead into some other amazing conversations. And if nothing else, even if they don't appreciate the book and aren't interested in that aspect whatsoever, they know they're being thought about and loved from afar. So even the heart of a prickly teen, hopefully inside, they're really excited about that. So.
And that brings in the chapter books, how the app, you can record the chapter books. And with teens, it's the aspect of you're going on this longer journey reading together.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So you can say, you know, what's going to happen in this next chapter? What do you think is going to happen? You know, and
it's a wonderful way. It's a wonderful topic to be able to broach without having to, you know, have the pressures of like, what do we say to each other? And you're right, it's a longer reading journey. Certainly we've had service members read series of books. So Harry Potter and that type of thing, and they just keep reading it. And then it's just like this fun way to stay connected through the whole time that they're away. So.
Yeah, it helps bridge that gap.
Absolutely.
All right, Julie, do you have anything? Any questions?
Yeah, so I was just kind of wondering, so it seems like with the app, like the book options are endless. What about like the story locations and stuff like that? Like, what are the book options? What does that look like?
So I will say for the app, the book options are similar to the story options in that we actually, on our website, we have a drop-down list of about like 100 choices, and they rotate depending on what we have in stock. So for initial choices, that's generally what we ask people to choose from. You can special request a book if there is something specific that you're reading or looking for. Or let's say you already had like a family favorite that you're reading at home, and you want to send another, you took it with you so you can keep reading it, right? A chapter book, and you want to send another copy. You can certainly, there's a place to request that. And if we can get a hold of it, we will. If you are requesting a rare Dickens, you might be out of luck, but if it's something that's in print and we can get a hold of it, we would love to send it. But we encourage everyone to take a look at the drop down first, because those will be the easiest ones to get a hold of. For the story stations, the physical story stations themselves, they're all equipped with a basic book stock. It's about 35 titles. It rotates a little bit depending, again, what's in stock. And it's generally, you know, it's a mix of classics and pulp culture and just really great titles that you might want to read. Aimed at most age groups. Generally, our book stocks leave off, I would say, probably like early middle school on down, just because that's the vast majority of the requests that we get. Certainly, we've worked with sites and locations before, though, who said we only have older kids or we only have younger kids. And then one really great thing about being a recording site is that quarterly we refresh our stock with a theme. So first quarter is usually Dr. Seuss for the birthday and Read Across America. And then also we'll do pop culture. So that's where you're going to get your superheroes and things like Pete the Cat, Elephant and Piggy. Those are, the Mo Willems books are very popular. Second quarter, we usually have a STEM the Summer Slide theme. So we have these amazing STEM books. Those are super fun to review ahead of time. We try and keep it as diverse as possible as well, you know, get women in STEM and all of that, so that, you know, the books appeal to a wide variety. Third quarter is usually back to school themes. Miss Kindergarten goes to kindergarten, that type of thing. And then classics, so that's maybe where you get your corduroy and your Madeline and Berenstain Bears and things like that. And then fourth quarter, we do winter and holiday themes. So there will be some Christmas titles. Usually we try and include a couple other things in there, and then some just overall winter themes, so that if it's a service member who doesn't particularly follow a religion, or maybe theirs isn't represented, they still have a great option to read to a kiddo that time of year. So sites that are active and interested get included in those quarterly book gives. And again, we'll send them for free and they get those titles. And then it's a really great way for them to say, hey, we have these new books, come and make another recording.
I love that you guys have the, you know, the quarterly themes. I think that's super cool and very exciting. And I think a lot of our new spouses, I think would enjoy that, especially for times of separation.
Yeah.
Felt like I had another question, but it has kind of run away from me.
That happens to me frequently.
Yeah. You know, we're real people here.
Yes.
So Kayla, I don't know if you have any more on our list.
I think I might have one more, but for all of our spouses that are watching, go ahead and leave your comments below, and we will make sure that all of your questions get answered. If you have any advice on for spouses when they get directed or referred to you, how do they sign up if they're on an installation that has a recorded information?
If they're on a location that already has a recording site, first of all, you can find our list of current program locations on our website, and there's usually between 150 to 200 or so running at any given time, depending on what's going on. So they do rotate, especially with units who are going out. They'll start up a site when they leave and drop down when they come back. So they can go to our website and look up current locations. If there's a current location, we always encourage them to reach out first and say, hey, I would like my service member to make a recording. What do I do? You can always reach out to one of us and ask that same question. Next to every recording site is the name of the program manager who manages it. So they can always shoot us an email and say, hey, I really want to go to the site. I'm not really sure what to do. How do I get some help? One thing about our staff is we're fairly small. Even though our program is fairly large. But the great thing about that is regardless of who you reach out to on the site, someone can direct you to where you need to go and give you information. I always tell people, if you can't remember my name, look for my picture. And if you can't remember what I look like, just literally click anyone on the staff page and someone will direct you where you need to go. So it's pretty common. We also just have a common, info@utr.org that people can use if they just have general questions. So that's the easiest. Yeah, reach out or take a look at the recording lists. If you don't see anything near you, again, reach out and we will coach you on how to use the app, or if you have interest in getting a site there, we can work with you to start that process, whether it be through you or if you have a really great recommendation, like, okay, I don't have time to run a site, but here's our chaplain's name, or here's our unit first sergeant, or that type of thing. And then we can go from there as well. So.
We are super excited about our partnership. We are super excited about our new spouses and their families utilizing this resource, because it is an amazing way to make connections during times of separation. So we are beyond excited.
Us as well. We love your mission of mentoring the new spouses. This is a program that the earlier you get attached to it, the better. I think for both of us is true, of course. And for ours, the earlier you get integrated with something, the more likely you are to use it later on and to be an advocate for it, and to use it as a resource for your own family or to help others. So we're really excited to be part of your toolkit of resources that you advise the new spouses on. And we hope that anyone who has questions reaches out, remembers that they can use the program. Again, it's free anytime, as many times as they want to. And it really just is an amazing way of bridging gaps and keeping the family resilient. So.
Yep. All right, so you guys heard the lady. Make sure you ask as many questions as possible, and we will make sure those get answered for you. All right, before we leave, Julie, do you have anything that you want to add?
No, I think just the timing of this is great because I know for our Reserve and National Guard families, a lot of the units are preparing for their annual trainings. And so I think this is a program that our Guard and Reserve families can also take advantage of and, be thinking about, annual training seasons coming up, get on this, and hopefully some of the units will get on board. And if not, there's the app, which I think is a great way for those that are remote and not near like their unit. This would be a great way for them to take advantage of something like this.
Absolutely.
So we're excited about this.
Yes. Awesome.
All right. Well, ladies, it has been amazing. And it was wonderful to meet you, Marilena. And we hope to talk with you soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, ladies.
All right.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Mm-hmm. All right. Bye.
Bye.